Welcome back to the PricePlow Podcast. This is Mike. We have quite the party crew here. This is episode 109, and we are with the SportLife Distribution Sales Team. I'm going to allow everyone to go around and quickly introduce themselves, but we, on episode 102, had Michael Rossman on, and at the end, we decided to bring in the sales crew and kind of talk about trends that are happening in the industry. You guys are the feet on the street, talking to a lot of the store owners, a lot of the brick and mortar shops. You know what's hot, you know what's coming, you know what energy drinks people are drinking and gravitating towards. So we want to talk about the trends and then get into what SportLife's up to this fall. So welcome aboard, everyone. I'm not sure, Dylan, do you want to just go first, really quickly introduce yourself and what area you're in? And then I think we should kick it off by what we're drinking right now.
Yeah, so my name is Dylan. I am a regional sales rep or a national sales rep here at SportLife. So I handle like the West Coast right now, as well as Florida. So I live in Florida, near our Florida distribution center. But yeah, I handle kind of the West Coast and Florida for us.
What's going on, guys? I'm Sammy. I've been with SportLife for about 2 years. I handle kind of all around national sales manager as well as with Dylan, more Midwest than anything, Nebraska, up there in Indiana, stuff like that. And just killing in sales every day as much as I can.
My bad. I'm drinking some Rise Fuel right now with a little bit of water in my nice Finaflex ice shaker here.
And I'm not going to lie, when I'm drinking water. But my main go-to, we are bringing in the brand Gorilla Mind. That's some good news coming in. So I love Gorilla Energy, so stay by that.
And more on that later, too. I want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. And that was a Rise Kool-Aid, huh?
Tried and true. While the watermelon bang.
So that's Jordan there. For those listening on the auto feed, he's holding up a bang. So,
we don't sell them, but
never change.
I still drink them. No, my name's Jordan. I've been for over 24, 25 years working up north, pretty much anything from North Carolina up. I'm from Long Island, so that's always been my stomping grounds. So that's pretty much what I do.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, welcome, everyone. So I was super stoked to be talking about this because we were talking with Michael on the podcast. You know, we watch a lot on the internet, and we obviously have boots on the ground. We go to a lot of places, but I'm super stoked to, like, with a new distributor like SportLife. You guys see a lot. You're dealing with a lot. Just talking about even just Gorilla Mode coming in and stuff like that. Like, the times are changing. I'm kind of excited to see, kind of talk about trends, see what you guys are seeing and what you're expecting over the next year. Mike, did you want to start with any specific question or anything? Do you have any ideas?
No, I think we honestly, I thought it was going to start with just talking about energy drinks. It seems like that's always the hot topic. Michael went on record saying no more energy drinks from brands, but I don't think anyone's going to listen to that. But if we want to start with Gorilla, that might be a good way to go. So has there been, I'm guessing, has there been a lot of people a lot of consumers walking into stores asking for this brand?
Yes.
Or okay, so how does that? Tell me, how does that all work? It all started with social media, and people going to the stores. The stores are asking, and then how does SportLife get involved? I guess
basically, we require. I kept asking him. I was like, "Hey, is there any way we can get Gorilla Mind?" You can ask Jordan. I kept begging for it. Jordan didn't even know at the time what Gorilla Mind was until I kept telling him. And then he started getting asked about it because we deal with the most stores here at SportLife, and then we just started noticing customers kept asking, "Hey, can you get Gorilla Mind?" No, man, I don't have access. I don't even think they do distribution, but maybe you could try going direct. Then we started finding out Gorilla Mind started taking accounts direct. Big sales and order minimums were crazy, and not a lot of stores are going to be able to obtain that. So, with that being said, somehow through the grapevine, thank you whoever linked us to them. I don't really know who, but they reached out to us, and they inquired us, and it was actually a blessing in disguise. And then we just keep every day we get asked about Gorilla Mind. So
yeah, there was a bunch of we announced recently that they've been increasing their wholesale, and we had a bunch of stores complain when they were going direct that they had to buy a whole pallet, or shipping is expensive, all this different stuff. And that's the reason that you go to distribution, right? That's the strength, is that small brands can now order. I don't know what your minimum order, but if a small brand wants to bring in Gorilla Energy, let's just talk energy drinks. What's the minimum they have to order through SportLife?
3 units.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, the trend is, man, the issue is a lot of times, Sammy being a professional bodybuilder as well, I'm a professional drummer, so I don't do that. But bottom line, we're talking apples and peanuts. So Sammy talks to a lot of people, which is awesome. It's very valuable to the company. Respect that. He talks to a lot of other professional bodybuilders and a lot of other influencers and stuff like that. So he starts to hear about these lines, and then sometimes I'll bring certain things to customers. Like I love to sell a lot of snacks, where Sammy hears about a lot of different, like some of these high-end brands. I'm like, who's this? Basically, in a nutshell, what happens is the trend is that 20 years ago, customers are immediately calling you for a line. Now, customers will go directly to the brand, trying to make us the middleman, trying to cut us out. So a lot of times they think that the end-all be-all is buying direct from the brand, where the strength, like you said, Ben, you said a great distributorship was that, hey, we're going to be able to obtain the line if they're open to us. And then, hey, these $3,000, $4,000 minimums, not 90% of stores are not going to do that right now. So thankfully, a line like that is coming to us some more, like the Alpha Lines and Rises of these people are seeing the value in bringing us in and being able to help the specialty market with these things.
And with Jordan saying that, like, that's the thing. Like you guys said, like, what's the new trend going on? It's these, I like to call them the young LA brands. You know what I mean? It's the brands that really collab with young LA, those influencers. And that's what kids want. They want the Rect. They want the Gorilla Mode. They want the Gorilla Nitric. They want those products because, kids their age that are lifting up their shirts in the gym and taking selfies are what's going on. And dude, at the end of the day, the store can sell whatever they want. But the customer is sometimes going to come in there for that product and you're not going to be able to sell them something else. We all know that. I hope so. So and it's cool. We're blessed that these brands want to work with us, and we're blessed to give these stores these things. And I understand, stores, more and more brands are coming out, more and more energy drinks are coming out, but I mean, it's a brand that has a high demand, and when it has a high demand, you should definitely bring it in.
Yeah, I mean,
When I think
the brand. Sorry.
No, well, I was going to say, I think the big shift too is like back in the day, brands would start with distributors. Like going to a distributor to get your brand in a store was actually where you would start to get exposure. Nowadays, brands are social media, everything like that. So they're actually starting with big direct to consumer business on their website first, and then they're realizing like, well, man, servicing all these retailers is kind of hard also, like that's a whole nother thing that, and some brands can do all of it. They can service stores, service direct to consumer, but so you kind of see that weird shift where they're starting direct to consumer first, then they make their way to distribution and try to figure out that retail, wholesale kind of part of the business.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of brands, like finding your strength and like what you can do well, like, a lot of brands will be able to do wholesale if they have a great warehouse team and they understand pricing and shipping and they have the right partnerships. But if you're all 3PL, if you're, trying to bootstrap it, I would rather deal with SportLife or someone who can just handle all of that wholesale for me.
And we have those stores that just want to deal with us, that order almost every brand. I mean, Dylan, Jordan, Sammy, like myself, we all have like stores that are putting 5-6 KPOs and, ordering across board, snacks, drinks, dry goods, everything you can think of on top of it. And if we can be that one-stop shop, get close to pricing that's close to direct or at least manageable, that'd be awesome, So that's why I think like that's where the relationship and the industry is evolving in that standpoint.
Well, these new brands too, guys, another thing too that you have to note, and I've had this conversation ad nauseum the last couple of weeks. Everybody's like, what's the margin? I said, when it comes to lines like this, the margins unfortunately can be irrelevant because here's the thing. The person that's coming in that store is 18, 19, 20 to 25 years old, who is living on TikTok, who's living on social media. And now, here's the thing. It's unfortunate in other avenues in life, but for our arena, it's great for the fact that they're coming in for that specific product. So, for instance, Alpha Line's a great example. Some of the influences they have, we're talking young, just good-looking dudes, man. In shape, natural, the whole 9 yards, right? Some 18-year-old kid comes in, I want Supreme. You're not going to sell him anything else. And if you don't have it, he's walking out. So I tell these guys, look, regardless of what the margins are, you're going to have to start pivoting and start bending a little bit to bring these lines in because that's what these people want.
Yeah, and they're able to generate demand for this. Like, we've seen over the last, decade, there's obviously a lot of brands that have pulled all the right levers, made the greatest products, done all that stuff. But it takes the brand having the actual demand to shuttle foot traffic into store for all of these things to come together. Like a lot of brands that came out with, the biggest pre-workout scoop or the best margin or whatever. But if there isn't a consumer coming in to buy it, then it's pretty much worthless. I was going to joke before, like the owner of Gorilla Mind has literally been on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like that kind of demand and foot traffic.
That just blows up, bro.
Yeah, you can't put that on a supplement facts label. As much as we all want to just be able to make the best pre-workout. Like that demand is necessary.
And I'll be honest, their formulas are fucking awesome, dude. I mean, I love this fucking product, Gorilla Energy. I don't know what they're doing with this exact product, if they're going to keep it, but it's 180 milligrams caffeine anhydrous. You got Kana in there, you got Uriah Geransis, and it just kicks, man. You just get going in one. I dry scoop that shit, and I'm ready to fucking go.
Sammy, I was actually going to ask when you had been, so as it stands right now, this is August 23rd, 2023. On your website, guys. Gorilla Mind is not yet on your website. So you kind of made a pre-announcement. When is it going to become more official?
About a week.
Oh, okay. So yeah, by the time we get this published, it'll pretty much be up. Now, when there have been a lot of requests for Gorilla Mind, kids coming in, ask for Gorilla Mind. What is there a specific product they're asking for? Is it the energy drink? Is it the
Gorilla Mode, the energy drink, and Gorilla Nitric?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And that's what you had mentioned. Okay. Yeah, because in general, like a lot of companies lead with the pre-workout, but we're obviously seeing that kind of shift a little bit with energy drink as well. But there's only so much cooler space here.
Like I was able to just kind of like being a pound when I talked. Aram's our purchaser. He's an amazing dude, and he does a lot for our company and stuff. Dude, I got on the phone with him. He called me right away. He knew I knew what I wanted to order. I was like 36 of this, 36 of this, 48 of this, 72 of this. Let's get this warehouse, this warehouse. And I plugged in the POs right away because we know we're going to sell it. It hits the door. Even if the store just wants it to put it on the shelf, it'll bring the customer. It's good for the stores too because it'll bring the customer into the store. It's a great brand. I think it's going to go very far for us. Especially, I think it's going to be in line with Alphaline. I have a high interest because Alphaline we sell like crazy.
What do they say, Sammy? Something like 20 million impressions per month or something. I had something crazy. So like that's a big deal. And again, we'll talk about other lines as well, but it's the lines that are doing that are really making it happen. You know what I mean? And I still love the lines that still do that. I'm old school, man. I'm older than most of the guys at the company. I still love the grassroots approach. I still love the guy that walks in the store and sells a guy a case of something. But we know that it's like snail mail, right? You can reach somebody email real fast. It takes 4 days to get a letter to them. So the social media aspect is where it's at, man, with these guys.
So we have not talked about Alphaline in a long time. But back like 2018, 2020, like we were talking about them all the time.
I know you guys were. I used to hear it all the time. We used to listen to podcasts. I love Jordan. I love it's the whole team. Like everyone there's awesome. We just kind of been out of touch. And I think they went very hardcore direct. Like their digital marketing, they took off like crazy. Like their funnels are incredible. What have you guys seen over the last few years from them? Because they were an awesome company in 2020, but they went like very like digital direct strong. And that seems like it's worked out for their wholesale, ironically. To be honest, the levels to this shit, I like to say, it's like a song for me. It's like you got Superhuman Pre, you got Superhuman Supreme, then you got Superhuman Extreme. They had that back then in 2018, I think their only Pre was Supreme. Am I correct?
They had a lot of different versions of it. Like we're always doing limiteds, but yeah.
100%. So when they did that and they diversified it, and the one thing that makes them stand out, it's a hit or miss, but the pre-workout like flavor of the month, the POM they call it, like it's insane. Sometimes like strawberry supersets, like strawberry swole slasher, the protein, fucking bananas, dude. When we sold it like crazy.
Me and Sammy sell out of that stuff in 20 minutes. Him and I alone in one warehouse.
We're competing on odds and ends. I'm like, Jordan, can I get 24 of this? You take it from that warehouse. We'll like literally trade off because it doesn't stay in stock. Once we send that blast or once we make that call, it's done. It's on. That's where I see it with this brand. They're just doing so good, especially they're reaching out to the public. Like I think they have a stack called online called the Dad Bod stack, and it's Superhuman Burn, Craven's Kill, and Night Burn. And I think it's also Superhuman Muscle or Superhuman Test, one of the two. But dude, I sell 24s, 12s, like all day of that. Even a little mom and pop store, they're buying like 12, 3 of each flavor of the Superhuman Burn. That's not logical. Usually they're only buying like one,
2 of this. Yeah.
So you sell stacks via wholesale?
Yeah, I even sell stacks to wholesale. They'll buy 4 at a time because they sell it at a bundle the same way Alphaline sells it on their website.
Hey, Mike, to answer part of what you were saying, you were saying how what are we seeing? Well, I love it. It's like the guys from DOS Labs. They're awesome dudes. We got to hang out with them at their sales meeting, playing golf with them and stuff. And I was talking to him, and he said, "Guys, we're a marketing company, man. That's where we excel. We crush it. Like, they are so good online. You know, people take the items that the consumer decides for themselves. If it's good, great. If they give it a thumbs up, if not, they don't buy it again. Right? It's pretty obvious. Snake oil is not going to work in the industry. People can tell. But again, with Alphaline, same thing, man. The digital market, they're so savvy with it, man. So again, that's what the stores are seeing. They're reaping the benefits from it because they're making good items, but their focus is that marketing, the online marketing.
So if you're cruising TikTok, Instagram, I even see it on Facebook when I get in there and everything. Lots of Alpha Lion ads. A lot of times, though, that translates. I guess I didn't fully understand that translates to people walking in the stores still asking for it as well. They're not.
Dude,
Absolutely.
so much.
And it's mostly because they just want it now. They'll just get out in their car and go.
Literally, like, hey, do you have the new Supreme Bubble Triple? Boom. They want it, man. They want it right away. And it's the same thing with, like, I mean, now we're on the trend with Alphaline. Alphaline can release, and dude, even a simple pre-workout. You saw Mania, Superhuman Mania, I think it's called. Stores didn't know it was an Amazon exclusive. I didn't know it was an Amazon exclusive. I was begging Aaron, 24, 32, whatever we need to buy. And Aaron's like, no, that's an Amazon exclusive. And they said it, but stores were still asking for it. That's because customers are coming in. They don't want to order it from just Amazon. They want to get it that day. And sometimes, obviously, from Amazon, you can't get it that day. It's just crazy. Just a simple pre-workout with creatine monohydrate and 200 milligrams of caffeine can get them wild off their pants.
Something that I like that Alphaline has been able to do is they operate like a small business. They're very nimble. Like the pre-workout of the month thing, like the thought that a large brand is doing a different pre-workout every single 4 weeks, like that's not easy when your turnaround time from a contract manufacturer is like 8 to 12 weeks.
Correct.
But they're able to do like very nimble moves, and that creates a lot of hype for you guys. Like that, I mean, that kind of turning on those flavors, I assume, is a good thing for you guys.
Oh my God, it's a fucking amazing, dude. I mean, some days we're walking out of the warehouse doing 30, 40 grand in one day, and it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. Honestly, I thank Alphaline so much for the opportunity they give us,
Yeah.
So are they coordinating with you? Like, so that their Instagram ads going live on, like whatever, August 23rd today. You've already got it in stores, hopefully, like really shortly.
Yeah, actually. It's literally like sometimes we even have it before some of the stores, like some of their direct, because they obviously have direct customers and we don't want to poach that. So we want to make sure, because we're their partner at the end of the day. And we sometimes get it before the stores do, or sometimes before even the reps can sell it. They're so efficient with us, it's insane. And they tell us when to launch it, when to post it, when to talk about it.
This is kind of like a gripe of mine that I have with like smaller brands that like the second they get that product in from the contract manufacturer, they got to put it on their website and start selling it. But I appreciate a brand that can like plan ahead, like have the product in the warehouse, have it at the distributor, have it at 3PL, whatever it is that you're doing, and plan out the launch so that when it does go live, everything's right like that.
Well, Ben, the big problem with that too, and you know this as well, is that you've seen this in years. So great examples of some of these companies that make snacks, right? There's only so many companies that have extruders, right? So we've ran into multiple issues in the past, in the last 26 years, where these companies would, again, you'd have a giant like a Detour back in the day, which we know they were the golden, like you were golden nuggets in a box, right? Couldn't hold on to them.
Oh my God, those are amazing.
They had to buy, like whoever had the biggest wallet, those are the guys that won the line time. So again, you got a company like a Rise, like some of these guys that are really knocking it down and doing the digital media and everything they're supposed to be doing. These guys, if that is the case and they're having to wait for the line, they're going to be pushed up to the front to get this stuff made. I have to imagine that still is how it's working with some of these guys.
Yeah, line time is difficult, especially RTDs, like you're mentioning that.
It is a little ridiculous that so many people are coming out with a new RTD every single moment. I'm seeing one pop up every single day.
But that's been going on for that's been going on for 3, 4, 5 years now. I mean, it just seems like it's constant because you've seen a couple RTDs come and go pretty quick. So yeah, it's kind of one of those constant things that brands are going to want to see if they can get one to stick. Because if you get it to stick, it can be a very beneficial thing for you.
I do have another thing I've always wanted to bring up. I know this is like kind of steering off topic, but I know another brand that's going to come off the woodworks. I think it's going to really blow up the wholesale industry. I think Morphogen Nutrition is really one that's going to come up next. I have a big, strong feeling because I actually just bought their Cognigen. I'm a very big fan of them.
We were joking with Ben, so I just took it for the first time this morning. And
What'd you think of it?
okay, so obviously there's a high dose of teacrine, and it stuck to the tongue a little bit. They did a good job with the flavoring. I did the sherbet flavor, so the sherbet. Yeah, so I liked it. The stuff works like flat out. So I like to drink coffee in the morning still. It's my morning jam. But I love the idea that it's got a lower dose of caffeine, a bunch of extra goodies. Dude, I told Ben. Yeah. And so I told Ben, I'm like, dude, this stuff works. Like, and so I think it's a perfect product for a Morphogen type customer, as long as people know you're going to get a Ben Hartman formulation, which is going to possibly have some weird stuff going on, such as like, an ingredient that's tough to flavor with. If you're willing to deal with that, you're going to get effects that you're not generally going to get from like, a standard, no offense to Alpha Lion, but their stuff always tastes perfect, And so this with Morphogen, you're going to get some effects because he's going to dose things in the way he likes it. And sometimes it's not going to taste the best. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. What do you think?
I think Sammy's the consumer for Morphogen. Like pro bodybuilder, like is willing to taste something a little bit worse, but you'll feel it.
100%. I've been a fan of Morphogen for a very long time. Morphe Brain, that was the first one product. Like I heard about him long before. I was ordering his products for a while. I mean, I think the guy's a great dude. And I actually approached him on Instagram. I was like, hey, can we do some distribution with them? Because I know I can move the fuck out of that brand, dude. You put that in my hands, I'm going to move it.
Well, let's
and
talk
you
about
know
that.
what's cool? You know what's cool? And Mike, sorry, not to cut you off. I was just going to say to Ed, what's cool is that I just got a couple calls the other day. You're going to bring a Morphogen. So it's funny we're talking about this. But then you guys are talking like these guys have been around a minute. So what people need to understand is these guys, man, have been in the woodworks trying to make stuff happen for the last 3-4 years. Just to finally get notoriety in some of these stores.
Yeah. But again, like someone who knew their limits and knew what was like, they knew how to hold back just enough so they weren't overextending themselves. Because I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of brands like overextend themselves or like get those growing pains. And then you have problems with cash flow. You can't keep ordering, keep stuff in stock and keeping stuff in stock. I mean, clearly Sammy's mentioned like 6 times already, like getting that stuff in the warehouse, getting it from the manufacturer is the most difficult thing. So if you overextend yourself, that's going to be difficult. But this year they just launched wholesale. So you're saying you're going to bring in Morphogen into SportLife.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, at the end of the day, like Mike Rossman will listen to what we ask for. I mean, if I'm going to pledge it, I'm going to move it. I'm not going to let it sit. And I know we can move it, especially even if it's expensive. Stores are going to come in. Customers are going to buy it. It's going to be the next brand that's going to blow up to that bodybuilding, not just bodybuilding, also those nerdy type people that really want those precise dosages. Like, I'm sorry, you don't see one scoop with 3,000 milligrams of tyrosine in it. I'm sorry, you don't.
No, that's a lot.
1 and then 2 scoops, you see 3. Now, I don't even see 3,000 milligrams.
Those previous pre-workout had 10 grams. So I think part of the issue is that Ben will formulate things so intensely that in order to for everyone to get margins and stuff, it would cost way too much money. So you have to get crafty with it. I think he's kind of refining the process where everyone can win. Like Cognigen is such a unique product, and I've only taken it once. But it's such a unique product. This ginseng it's in there, dude. Where's the ginger? The engine. Yeah, that's ginseng. Anyway, it's such a unique product that he's gonna be able to win with it. I think. Now the question, Sammy, is you're gonna be able to get this into stores, but I don't know if Morphogen has like a zillion people walking into stores asking for it. So what's the next step? You
guys know Sean Spraka, right?
Yeah.
Best dude around.
Yeah,
I hands down is one of my favorite customers to work with, and also a good friend of mine. If you see he's moving a shit ton of Morphe Pump, he's moving a shit ton of their EAAs, he's moving shit. Kids are buying it. I don't know what he's selling. I haven't really been paying attention. He would tell me what he's paying and stuff like that. He's very transparent with that. And I think, at the most part, we're going to be in line. I think Ben would be making it a good decision to put it in line with us. You know what I mean?
It's a loaded question, though, too, Sam, because you know as well as I do that where certain things will fall off the shelf. And hey, let's be realistic. 10 years ago, you couldn't go wrong with having C4 in your store, right? Every single customer, and still most of my customers carry it because it's a legacy brand, right? Anything that's usually 10 plus years is a legacy brand, right? These store owners are getting smarter. The ones that actually are looking to make money and to keep getting residual sales, they are actually getting off their stool and actually say, hey, dude, I know you like XYZ, but let me show you what I just got. This stuff's ridiculous. They're getting smarter. They're getting more knowledgeable. They're having to dig more into ingredients and understand truly, because years back, some guys were good at it, but not many really knew everything that was going on. So the prop blend, right? So now these guys are really getting more educated, or women are getting more educated and legitimately trying to sell products in their store harder than they have before.
Thanks, Jordan. That's kind of what I was asking, is because I don't think enough people off the street know Morphogen just yet, at least. But if I was a store owner and you came in asking for a nootropic, I'd be like, well, if you're willing to take like an 8 out of 10 on taste and you want to get your face knocked off,
That's true.
and you can drink it alongside your pre-workout and or fat burner or energy drink or coffee, like, you got to try this Cognigen. Like, so I think
it has to be more of like the store. It has to be the store owner's approach of pushing it rather than kind of making its name. That's what I should have answered that. My bad.
No, that's cool. Okay. And so is that part of SportLife's job then? Are you saying, hey, this is, we have this new brand. It's not a new brand. It's a new brand to us, possibly a new brand to you. They've been around for a while, but you're going to have to push it a little bit. Like, do you have that conversation with stores?
Yeah. So basically I have a conversation. Jordan has a conversation. Dylan has a conversation. We sell the product. We don't just order take. Our job at SportLife, Michael Rossman, Jeremy, the guys, they don't like that. You don't just order take. You tell them what you have new. Because some stores, they ask you what you want new. People like me and Jordan that don't shut up. They just want to keep talking and talking and talking.
That is true. That is true.
We like. We don't shut up. And when I was with him at the golf course, Jordan wouldn't shut up. I wouldn't shut up. We just kept going on and on and on. And people would just tell us to shut up, So at the time being, it's like we want the stores to succeed, but we also want to sell something that we like as well, that we know that's going to do it. And if it sells for the store and they tried themselves, they like it, they're going to want to buy it again. Their customers will want to buy it again. And then it would just be repeating sales.
And that's kind of what Jordan was talking about too, because it's great that the whole United States could be totally different. Like a brand like that could sell really well in the Northeast, but just be atrocious in Florida or California. So with us having national distribution, that's what really helps, because you can see where, maybe a brand doesn't have a stronghold in a certain area in the country, but we can help distribute it out there and get it. Maybe their warehouse is based in Delaware or Georgia and they just have no presence out in California. Like, that's it stuff as us sales reps, we can help with and promote that to these other brands who might not get the geo targeting or get the marketing because they're not in that, maybe the brand's only marketing kind of in this half of the country and not the other half. So it's just kind of like those things where we can come in and help, with that kind of knowledge and distribute it across the entire country.
So that was actually a question we had talked about with Michael, is talking about geographic differences. So I'd love to hear if you have any trends. I know you guys are mostly national and on the east side and everything, but I'm kind of curious. Like, we've talked about Morphogen. Ben Hartman's he's in Ohio, but we've talked about Alpha Lion. I would guess they're more West Coasty. I don't know.
No, that is 360. That is every freaking state.
360 Alpha Lion.
Yeah,
360. But you know what's a big West Coast brand? If we're talking about it, is Panda.
Yes.
Based off, we see that is very West Coast. We introduced it to the East Coast, like Jordan has. I have, a little bit of Midwest, but it is a very big West Coast brand. And those collabs are just insane.
Do you have any reasoning for that, or is that what they're targeting? Or
I think they're demographics over there, man. I'll be honest with you. I think they don't have a lot of influencers. I just think the way their marketing is going and the way it's targeting, I think it's going a lot to, the West Coast, Vegas, California, especially in California. I mean, California, they buy a crap ton.
Well, you look at Merbad, right, too, where that was again, from just me doing this for so long, this company here, I've been with SportLife for about 2 years now. It introduced me to the fact that I wasn't out of the loop with supplements because I've always sold them. But what brought me into the loop more was that this company, we actually had higher ticket items. I'm like, $28 for a pre-workout. Who's going to freaking spend that kind of money? I was wrong. When the customer's saying, send me 24, mix up the flavors. I'm like, okay, there's something to this. But Merbad over there and those guys do a great job. Taste is outstanding. Mixability, everything seems like it's micronized. It's not clumpy. Pump is a little bit thicker because, the glycerols and all that stuff. But I will say this, his packaging is so sexy. He did something difficult. It's like somebody would think a panda bear on there is goofy. I even thought at first, I'm like, who's going to buy something with a panda bear? Then I saw the packaging. I'm like, I get it. This is his MO. This is what they do. As things progressed, his graphics kept getting better and better, the color schematics. And then let me tell you something, man. That's one package that actually sells itself and sticks off the shelf. So there could be carrot stuffed in there, and somebody's going to take a look at it. You know what I mean? So he's done a great job at just the presence of the package. And then if you look at his formulas,
amazing.
I'm telling you right now, I put that up there with anybody else. That stuff, he kitchen sinks that damn thing, and it is efficaciously dosed to the hilt.
Right, Uranus is
100%.
Synephrine, like just straight loading the chemicals in your brain, just going crazy, and people want that, man.
Yep.
Okay,
Want
And those collabs, those brand collabs too, is just kind of next level.
so I wasn't going to bring this up. I'm not a big fan of Panda because they got a couple drugs in their products, but you mentioned a couple of them, so I got to go there. You think that the synephrine, the rhydrensis, the isopropyl norepinephrine, like, are stores really clinging on to this stuff now that like some of them are starting to get taken off of shelves?
They're going to be taken off the shelf. So I mean, yeah, stores are. They're moving away from the sketchier, and those are still, I guess you can say, sketchy as well.
But they're not getting specifically hit, so they're like little stores see them as safer. So that, like, let's focus in on these.
I guess you can say. I guess you can say those seem that safer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ben, good question. That's
safe.
a great question. Because let's take a look at DMHA. This is the big gorilla in the room, right? There's a lot of lines out there, man, that are making DMHA items that are not able to get insurance properly. And it's a brutal thing. And everybody's a capitalist society where everybody has a chance to make products and make money, right? But the issue is that we as a company have had to really focus on brands that are able to potentially have all the stuff that insurance and things like that, and to be able to get those products out there and focus on that. So we've had to take a step away from a lot of that stuff and focus on the things that we can totally sell now that are going to be legitimate.
Because we want stuff to stay on the shelves, you know what I mean? We don't know exactly. It's cool to have a collab. It's cool to have the highest improve and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we want, like Alpha Lion is a good example. I mean, they don't put, for the most part, I don't see any of those ingredients in there. I don't know if we can all agree with that, but like that's one thing. Like, they use a lot of different stimulants, but nothing like that. My question, like, I always wonder about juniper berry, if that's ever going to be taken off the market. That's another one that's questionable too. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you said it's got to stay on the shelf, and I think that's such a great point. Like, you can have the most hardcore stuff that consumers love and the kids at the gym are all crazy about, but if each month you have to keep searching for another product because it keeps getting taken off or it can't get run or something, that's a huge problem. And I think Jordan's mention of insurance is a huge thing that we don't talk about enough, is like being able to insure your products. You can't insure
liability
products.
Insurance, man.
Yeah.
One thing.
Well, you can't keep it a secret, because here's the thing: people are going to talk about it. And at the end of the day, you're not bastardizing anybody, making fun of people, pointing fingers at people. But if we want the industry to stay strong, and we want to all be able to make livings and be able to do what we enjoy, which I thoroughly enjoy this industry. I am a health fanatic. I've conquered obesity. I mean, half my family's obese. I mean, I've lost 100 pounds. I mean, I drink the Kool-Aid every single day of my life. If for me, Sammy could not train for a month and still look great. I look like dog crap, and I have to train every day. So the thing is that for me, I have to train. I have to supplement because it's a big piece of my life. But at the end of the day, I still want to be able to sell products. I still want to be able to take products. And I want these. I am in love with mom and pop shop and gyms, and that's what we do at SportLife the most. So we have to protect this industry. People have to come correct in this stuff.
And we got to get, honestly, we have to listen to what stores want. I really we all try to focus on like brands that, we like to have a brand, stay in linear. Keep growing consistently, but stay on the market. We want the same flavor. We want the same ingredient panel. We don't want to change the formula. That's the one thing customers, store owners hate. And that's the thing. We got to find brands like that can, because you never know. The FDA is going to want to take this off the market. N&M was, I guess, another thing that was going to be taken off the market. Is that right? Even though I don't see anything really wrong with that ingredient, but
yeah, I mean, that'll to be continued. This wasn't meant to be a regulatory podcast, so I have lots of comments on that. But NMN is probably going to end up in court, and I think the FDA is going to lose pretty badly. But who knows, man? You're fighting the law, so the law usually wins.
Well, what Sammy said was that you want the panels to stay the same. You don't want to be changing them over time. Is that just for like convenience of like knowing that what you're selling every time is going to be the same? Is it like
that's my convenience?
Because people are doing limited editions. Like, is that inconvenient to you?
I like the limited editions because it builds up the hype. But sometimes the company has to watch when that trends up. If that stays so high and that formula is so good, people really want that. Like the Black Market versus Panda was a phenomenal one. And I'm just giving an example of a good collab. If, for say, like those ingredients were standard to the consumer and that was perfect, that'd be cool to keep it on the line, keep it running, But we can't sometimes. That's the whole point of the collab. It builds up hype. I'm more of a person that really likes consistency. That's why I like selling Superhuman Burn, Extreme, and Supreme, because it's the same formula consistently staying every time. You know, and that's what the customer wants. They want that same feeling.
When we were, I do have a stash of the way old Superhuman Supremes that are no longer on the market, and saving those for a rainy day. They still powderize, which is really cool. Alpha Lion, they've learned a lot over the years, and I think they've taken those lessons and they've learned what is actually going to stay on the market. But like my old powders are still powder. They're not bricks. Like some of these older supplements that I have turned to bricks. So like I'm very confident in a lot of stuff that they do, and they do it right. I think like you mentioned like synephrine, for instance. Like when we see synephrine hydrochloride on a label, that is a potential red flag. FDA probably doesn't care, but at some point they might. There are ways like brands are going to have to be smarter, I think, in order to, if they want longevity, they're going to have to use like a citrus aurantium that's 10, 20, 50% active, and then it'll be more compliant labeled. However, that's going to cost them more money. They're going to have to pay Advantra Z or whoever for the ingredient. Is that worth it for the brand to have to spend more money? The stores have to spend more money. The consumers have to spend more money when the guy next door is just going to go and use synephrine hydrochloride and save money. At some point, like that decision will need to be made. But like I think there are a lot of solutions to a lot of these problems. It's just like how far along in the process are you? Alpha Lion's a mature company at this point where they figured it out. So I think it's a good lesson to learn. But yeah, if someone wants to be real quick and cheap, the synephrine hydrochloride is there. I wouldn't expect it to be there forever though.
Think about, remember back in the day, BPI, when they blew up Derek over there? Even though, you know, I haven't really seen any of his stuff in a while, the guy's line's still present. And honestly, man, like he was one of the smarter ones back in the day, because he was like, okay, look, I know that I'm putting out some hardcore stuff, whatever it may be. He already had 2 to 3 formulas in the hopper, because he knew, he's like, we have got to be ready to pivot. And that's the big thing in this industry. If you're going to play ball like that, you better be ready to pivot very fast. Your chemist, whoever you're using, they better already have, look, dude, we're going to have to cut this. We're going to have to add this. We're already ready to go. We have the line time ready. That's all I'm going to say about that. You have to be ready to pivot very quick if something happens like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, like Alpha Lion, it seems like they do a good job planning ahead and everything.
Very good at pivoting, because I mean, like you said, you have the old Supreme stashed away, and then now the new one's still moving like crazy still.
Dude, it's pretty wild.
They did a good job of like removing the DMHA and moving straight into like a really effective product that still felt like it didn't drop. Like their Superhuman Supreme is still like a very high stim, very effective product.
It's amazing. I love Supreme. I take it usually on back day, usually on chest day. I take Supreme religiously. One thing I want to say about you guys, PricePlow, you guys have been doing great with this, just giving out the brands, you know, exposure. I just wanted to say thank you for that. Like, just exposing the brands and what's in the new works, what's going on. I mean, it's exciting seeing some of this. It gives us a little bit of a recap and see what we can advance and make our company better as well.
Thanks. You know? No, we appreciate it greatly, and we like working with you, because ultimately, like, we go to trade shows, we talk to a lot of people, but it seems like, I mean, you talk to even more, I would say, of the end consumers and everything. So this is like kind of a perfect mashup of what we're trying to achieve here. So it's been fun so far, and I can tell you guys have some stuff to get off your chest too. So you're welcome to use our platform for that. We can get into the snacks and everything too. We've talked about pre-workouts enough.
I do have a topic I want to get into if you're cool with it.
Let's do it.
So exactly on snacks, but maybe a little bit broader. The Iacavone brands of Bum Energy, Raw, Vaughn's Treats. It's kind of like I would say like an empire at this point. But you guys brought in all of them except for Revive, I think. What
we have Revive.
You do? Okay.
We have the whole line.
Sorry, I'm looking at the brands. I didn't see Revive, but what's it like to have like that many brands from one person? Like how is that going? Because
it's wonderful.
It's kind of like back in the day with Glambia, you know, when distributors and stuff, we would carry, you know, the BSN, the Optimum, the Nature's Best, you know, stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool. There are brands for sure that have definitely embraced distribution. A direct to consumer brand is what you could consider them, obviously, and they really embraced distribution, and it's allowed us to help, you know, expand them, because I don't think they really wanted to focus on like the retail side as far as themselves. They understood immediately, let's do what we're best at and allow others that are best at what they do, let's leverage them and have somebody like SportLife, you know, help distribute that for us.
It's just crazy that everything with Bum on it, or anything that he says that comes out of his mouth, it's lit, super like that pre-workout that's, I don't know if it's Vitamin Shop or GNC, whatever, one of the two exclusive is.
Super
People
Savage.
want it. Stores just want it, dude. It is expensive ass pre. Like, it is one of the most expensive pre's out there. But
that was when I was going to say, yeah, stores have been asking us like crazy for that, the Super Savage, and yeah, it's it's, and we tell them like it's a GNC exclusive, but yeah, I mean, brand like, cause we have retailers constantly asking for it.
Is there a chance that SportLife can get their own like exclusive from a brand like that at some point? You know, I know you could do flavors maybe, but you know,
you would have to have. We don't. I'll be honest. Muscle Foods is huge. That's probably their biggest distributor, and I'm going to be frankly honest because I would like to be very, very transparent with it. It's probably not going to happen. Is it possible? Anything's possible for sure. We are growing with that brand constantly every month. I see the charts growing with that brand. I really like. I think they need to expand on the Bum Energy. Maybe add another flavor, which probably guessing it's probably the next thing that's in the works in quarter 3 or 4. But the thing I see the most with this brand is just if you're available and the store needs the products because they're so busy. That brand is so busy. They got so much going on. But if we were able to get them a glucose, we're able to get them Brain, Calm, GI Plus, all in one bundle. They don't mind paying the extra bucks and ordering it through us because it's the convenience at the end of the day with that, you know. That brand is just constantly, man. I mean, across board, even like the best thing they did was take it from brown and black to all white. That HD like style, like high definition.
Well, then you
like,
look. Then let's take a look. Right, since we're talking about this topic, let's take a look at our very close vendor relation we have with Kyle Brommer from After Dark. It's one of my top favorite lines out there. The line is doing incredible things in stores. He is a huge supporter of the specialty. And even with us, I believe we're going to have the, if I'm not correct, Sammy, the Pink Starburst, right? That's going to be our flavor, correct? And that's going to be an exclusive flavor for us, and we do very well with this line.
You did. Yes, sir. And we do. And that's another topic of discussion. The After Dark Inhuman, they had a strong pre-workout. In the beginning, they reformulated, and that still kicks balls, bro. Inhuman moves like crazy. They use a high amount of theobromine, and a very good formula on that standpoint. And that's another brand that, you know, just obviously steering off topic, but just wanted to say, like, there is change that you can still make and make the pre-workout good where you don't need those sketchy ingredients. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I met them at the Arnold, and it was funny because anytime I meet with a brand that like previously did a lot of like the hardcore stuff, they're always a little hesitant around me because I've spoken out pretty loudly. But,
yeah, that's fine.
You know, hey, I'm cool. Mike usually plays the good guy. I usually play the bad guy. But they did an awesome new label for the new product, which was just badass. Like if you're I don't think they can make this line. I'll say it because I'm not employed by them. But if you're a fan of the old Donnie Darko movie, like that label is just badass. But it became a hardcore product that isn't. There's just no problem with it anymore. Like it's super safe to take, but did not.
Once they cleaned up the formula,
it's absolutely badass.
We quadrupled sales with his products after when he changed everything. It's
It
crazy.
was interesting here. So yeah, here I see 1.5 milligrams of alpha yo. I'm a bit lower. I need to be under a gram usually myself. But one thing I was surprised with Super Savage at GNC, they got 3 milligrams of that stuff, and people are asking for it. I'm not sure if they're getting more returns or anything like that. Like, do you guys notice? Are you involved in any of the return process? If something's got way too much,
we're definitely
very
involved.
much so.
It has nothing to do with that. It's usually the clumping. Anything with a high amount of glycerol, that's usually our problem. But to be honest, what's crazy, man, I'm seeing those ingredient formulas, and you think alpha yohimbe would make you sweat, very cold feeling. Like, you all know we hate that feeling, but dude, customers are still buying that shit left and right, dude. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Until they get to be 40, then we'll have another conversation.
It's weird, dude.
It's experiential.
It was like 28 for me. Like, I used to like all the crazy stuff, and then I want to feel good when I work out now. I want to feel clear. I also want to have to not take 3 showers post workout.
100%.
That's more GBB for me.
Yeah.
Like GBB does that to me.
I was thinking GBB. I was thinking I had a conversation. You work with Black Magic Supply. I was talking to Anthony over there, and he said that using too much niacin, as in nicotinic acid, the flush niacin, leads to a lot of returns. So I was wondering if you've
100%.
ever seen. Yeah. So it's a fun thing to mess with. personally, if anyone's listening, I wouldn't put it in your pre-workout. There's one study that showed, first off, beyond the returns, there's one study that showed reduced performance. Niacin is used to lower lipids, and like that's a prescription drug for that. If you want at a high enough dose, you get that flush feeling. But the lowering of lipids may lower the available energy during your workout. So like it's experiential, but it's not like beta alanine where you could actually get some benefits. Is my opinion. I would just keep it out of there and just reduce the returns for everyone.
You know what I'm also seeing too? A lot of stores are asking for non-stim pump formulas with no glycerol. They don't want any glycerol in it. Nothing like that. They don't want that chalky taste, or a pump ingredient or a pre-workout with no beta alanine. And you don't come along like at the end of the day, every store owner, there's similar formulas everywhere, dude. It's kind of annoying at the same time. I get it, but it'd be unique for some companies to not put beta alanine in their pre-workout. You know,
Fuad was doing that with Hostile.
Drivers.
He put Pico 2 instead of beta alanine.
Exactly. That brand's interesting. How is that? Do you guys know how that brand's doing?
You know, they kind of have their own channels, so it's kind of difficult to gauge. But Hostile has their own kind of like, I mean, they've definitely in some ways taken over bodybuilding, which is really cool. But they don't do distribution. They do like direct exclusive deals with certain brick and mortars, which I think can build stronger relationships in some ways. But, you know, obviously instead of going wide with a whole bunch of brands, they go heavy into a few stores instead of all of them.
100%.
But I like what you said about how pretty much all pre-workouts at this point are very similar. You know, you got your 6 to 8 grams of citrulline, your 3.2 grams of beta alanine. Mike and I joke that I do the same video every single day. Like we just move.
I mean, if you look at the same formulas, dude, you're seeing the same thing every time. You're seeing 6.8. You're seeing this. You're seeing 7 grams. Maybe a store, maybe one person's putting 10 grams of citrulline malate in there. Oh, whoop-de-doo, but that's 2 scoops. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, get these like new ingredients out there that are not sketchy and see what they do and put them in there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when we do formulation consulting on the side and everything, we are basically a lot of times these spreadsheets just end up juggling the same 20 ingredients and like who's got a different permutation of these same ingredients over and over and over. And like ultimately, the beta alanine pre-workouts still do sell more. So like if you're chasing like the general demographic, it's going to have beta alanine in it. But yeah, not to knock Hostile at all because he's crushing it. His podcast, like that's all he's got to do is just keep running that thing and keep making those epic formulas. But yeah, we keep finding the same permutations, and we always try to like put in a novel ingredient, but the costs become an issue. Like if you want to run with if you want to run with like nitrosamine as your pump ingredient, it's going to cost a little bit more money, and then you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere else. So you have to pick and choose the right permutation and try to throw 1 or 2 novel things in. If you have too many botanicals, it's going to taste like whatever chamomile or something. It's going to taste like too herby. So that's got to be a factor too. But I'm a fan of glycerol, but yeah, I'm generally never suggesting it in a pre-workout for anyone that's like kind of serious in my opinion.
I'll be honest, man. I'm a fan of it just by itself. I don't like it in pre-workouts. I love, like I take a shot of the Gorilla Mod, a little like glycerol thing, and
the liquid glycerol or
glycerol, and honestly, it's great, dude. 10 grams. I think it's like 10 grams or 16 grams for it, or even that one product from I think they did a phenomenal job. FSU serum.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, they did. FSU serum is awesome, but so that's a liquid glycerol, probably harder to ship around and distribute because it's so heavy. Gorilla Mines, they're using hydroprime glycerol. That is the glycerol that we like the best and everything. But ultimately, you still do end up with a little bit of grit, even if it doesn't clump as like, nearly as much as some of the others and everything. I just, I don't. I'm a fan, but I'm with you. I would take a solo. Functional foods. That's Ben. We're
no. I was just saying, I like glycerol a lot.
That's a Jordan expert.
People love them. We all do.
Back with that.
Snacks.
No, I mean, I was going to say, even with snacks, I mean, when you guys were talking about even with the pre-workouts kind of having similar formulas, I mean, that's always been something just over time, like with any energy drinks, snacks, you know, for a while you had those chocolate coated snack. I mean, you're always going to have that where brands are going to test, and how we were just talking about no more energy drinks. It's all in that same category. That's why the branding and marketing really come down to it, because it's like, if they're going to be similar, it's like who's going to have that branding, you know, to kind of set you apart, or who's going to have the right distribution channels to help get it out there first, you know, or kind of be like the first one. But yeah, with snacks, it's funny because you can see like obviously the Vaughn's treats, you know, is influencer based, so you're going to see some kick up in that. But we still do really well with like the Power Crunch, Quest bars, One bars, even though you feel like they're not as out there or as, maybe hot, they kind of become legacy brands like Jordan said. They still do very well,
Anomalies,
but then you have like the Anabars and
anomalies.
Bear Bells, which are just, just
ridiculous.
yeah, you can't even keep
Our
those
POs
things
keep
in
going up.
stock. I
We
mean,
keep
those
selling
things
out.
just,
Our
yeah,
POs
those
keep going
things,
up. We
and
keep
luckily
selling
they're
out.
two products that can, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Like Anabar is just insane. Like that, I was so
I
happy
had
we brought
I had
those.
one of my stores in
We
Michigan
we
hit
were
me
the
up
first
one day. He
distribution to
says,
bring
Jordan,
Anabars in. It was
you
amazing.
got it. You got to call these guys. I brought it up to Jeremy, and we kind of sidelined it for a little bit. Then a couple months later, I'm like, Jeremy, we need to take a look at this brand, bro. This bar, I tried it. He shipped me a bar. I said, dude, let's call him. Jeremy made a call. A couple weeks later, man, we had POs lined up. Sam, we sold out of them literally in 15 minutes. And then it's been gangbusters since. And I love those guys. The owner is actually a really cool dude. I
Cookie
got to
Crunch.
talk to him quite a few times. Very humble, very nice. And they can't even keep up at production. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like anything else. We'll have, Monster Cookie is their number one seller. And that's always the first one to run out. And the PB&J, we're still waiting to get that back in. But yeah, that's a bar that is destroying it right now. Yep.
100%. And Bear Balls. I mean, we've turned into one of their top distributions. And dude,
Yep.
I mean, they need to come out with another flavor because it just keeps the soft bars nailed it. Salted caramel crunch, salted peanut crunch, and then also caramel choco. They killed it with it.
When
and I can't keep them on the shelves.
I sorted your site by top sellers, and Bear Bells is like above some of your regular products. Like it's up there.
Yeah.
Mike and our videographer came in town at some point this year, and I bought a bunch of Bear Bells to like share with everyone that they'd be hungry when they got in. I ate all of them before they got here. Like they are so good.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
Well, what's nice
My
too
favorite
is that
one is
when you
Creamy
look at
Crisp,
the
bro.
facts in the bar,
That's
that's
Yep.
actually a
Yep.
bar. Jack Owak said it best, because he has. I remember Jack. We had back in the day with VPX. He was talking. The guy's a genius. Just does all kinds of stuff and makes bars, snacks, powders. He's all over the place. He even said it himself. He's like, my stomach can't handle 90% of the bars. The only bar he could really eat at the time was one bar. And Bear Bell is a bar that, it's still a delectable treat like a candy bar, but at least it's not going to tear your stomach apart. That's a big piece for a lot of people, man. So kudos to them for doing that. Oh, my God.
Crazy is it? You guys know
400 calories. Let's go. Yeah.
They're still fucking moving.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's
Those
just
things are
people
classic.
want those fucking big bars like Super Cookie Crunch, fucking the crisp apple pie. Like it's just people want those, and I remember they taste fucking good. And sometimes you can't even get a hold of it because that companies can't control their demand. And that's the
Yep.
one thing we see. If anything, with more, I see more snack demand is higher, but like it's hard to keep up with production. I see that the most, like especially flavors. Sometimes it could be weeks, months. And with Bear Bell, the only thing that sucks with Bear Bell is we're always out of stock of some stuff. And it's not their fault. It's just the demand's so high. And Germany is releasing, or wherever they're produced in, they're releasing all the new flavors first. And they have them. And hey, stores are asking, hey, are you getting this? Are you getting this? Oh, I don't know. I can't really tell you. You know what I mean?
Have you guys gotten any of the brownies in? I know brownies are like a big crazy.
Oh, apple prime brownies?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
They're fucking killing it. My cookie dough bite, freaking everything. I mean, even ask Dylan. Chocolate dough, chocolate glaze, everything. Dude.
Yep. Yeah, that's another one too. That same thing. I think when you start to get into those unique snacks, you even got like the Finaflex oatmeal protein pies and the power pies, and people are starting to get out into that functional food, and those things are harder to make. They're not like a cookie cutter type, easy thing. And then if something takes off, like the Alpha Prime bites too, the brownies and stuff, we can run into some of those issues with production. But yeah, it's a good thing to have when you're in such demand. It's almost like every time you restock, it's almost like a just kind of a rush to grab. So it's it can be a good thing too.
Yeah, it's crazy how good the foods are getting now. I mean, a couple years ago, man. I mean, the Big 100s are classic. The peanut butter and jelly was the one for me. Like anything that has that jelly in it, like I was sucking for that.
I'm a peanut butter and chocolate pretzel one.
Yeah, the pretzel. I was gonna say the pretzel one was just, but at the end of the day, like you knew it was a protein bar. It was tasty, it was good, but you knew it was healthy. or I don't even know if healthy is the word for it, but you knew that there was protein packed in it, which made it like it was not a
25%
candy bar. But now, like, dude, you get one of those glazed AP brownies, and it's like this
Oh my
doesn't taste healthy. This tastes like
No.
bad for me. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
But the macros aren't even not that bad. 6 grams of sugar, 20 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat. I mean, it's kudos to them to freaking make those macros.
Well,
Shit.
let's give props to the baker that they have too. The guy's been doing it with his family for 1,000 years. Like, this guy's been around a minute. So the guy that they use, or the people now they use to manufacture it, is still under the same principles as the main baker that was making some of these other brownie companies. And he's the mainstay. That's why they stay moist. So you're not getting mold. You're actually, it's legit. I don't think we've had any mold issues with prime protein brownies, which has been really nice. And they stay moist, man. You could have a box in your cupboard for a month, 2 months, and they still stay pretty moist. That's just a shout out to them for that. They have a very good formula on that product.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the delicate balance, of course. So with the functional foods, protein bars, and everything, is there demand pull from the customers, or are you guys saying, dude, you got to try this bar, and then they start pushing it once they've tasted one?
It's more of an upselling approach from us.
Yeah.
Like, lately, depending on, unless if like the company is kind of like Anabar, which they're influencer based too, but there's not a lot of companies like Bearbell's not an influencer bar. It's just known worldwide. You know what I mean? So like, it's more of the store owners that are looking for new snacks, because store owners want new snacks. Like, I'm begging, like, ask Jordan. I used to never be a snack guy. I would refuse to push snacks. I'd like, fuck this. There's no margin in it. It sucks. But dude, it's so high demand. It's insane. And I just love trying them, I'm waiting for the next, if you guys know of another snack, tell us, because we want to get another snack on board to fucking put in SportLife so we can sell it.
Yeah.
We got the Anabars, we got the Bearbells. I mean, Legendaries, if you're here, you can hear me. It'd be great if you let us sell your products.
We've needed them 100 years ago.
And
Yeah.
we'll give you good business and good money. I hope you guys see this
I'll
podcast.
clip this in some
Yeah.
time, don't worry.
Yeah, we've been dying to get the products, man. Like, I mean, all joking aside, that is a line that every single one of our stores have, every one of them, and that's a tough snack to make, because again, that's like a Pop-Tart extruder, right? So you were saying that how difficult it is to make some of these snacks. That's the same kind of process of making a Pop-Tart. Some of these other items, you know what I mean? So trying to get the line time, I'm sure, to make it, but I don't know, man. Like, that line is an anomaly, man. But like, they've had stock issues for a long time, and they've only been able to keep certain distributors stocked with it. We're trying to get it bad, man, but no cards yet.
What's funny is what I've noticed too is that it's like when a legacy brand or a brand tries to come up with a snack, it almost seems like it's harder for them to get off the ground versus if it's just a snack by itself. Like, if it's just a snack company, I mean, for us, whatever it is, I don't even know why it's like that, but there's always been that kind of trend. It's like, oh, you're known for a pre-workout company, like you're trying to do a bar, like, it could be the best. That bar could have came out by itself and it could have exploded. It's like this weird trend. But yeah, I think when they send us samples and us sales guys eat something, if we fall in love with it, every phone call, like you said, it's an upsell. I mean, like, dude, you gotta try this. Dude, bring it in. If you're not gonna sell it, you gotta bring in a box just for yourself. Like the owner, like, you gotta buy a box to try it.
I think to be totally fair, like what you said about like brands being like they sell pre-workouts but they can't sell functional foods, that does apply in some other cases too. Like Cellucor tried protein like 5 times and it never took off. Like, some brands are just certain categories.
You should stick with what you're good at. You know what I mean?
Own your strength, man. Double down on that. I will say this was an unpopular opinion of mine, but the Phenaflex Power Pies, man, I housed boxes of those. Some people weren't fans, but I loved those.
Yeah, they're a hit or miss. Like, the same thing. It's kind of like production issues. You run into that issue where, like, you're making it so fresh that one wrong thing maybe with a batch and it can be slightly off or slightly different, or you launch it and then the next thing maybe you add a little bit more marshmallow. So if somebody tried that original one, maybe it wasn't as good, but somebody tried it from the second batch where they added more marshmallow. Like those things. So yeah, and plus when you're talking like a marshmallow type moon pie like that, I don't think that is a snack that's for everyone. That's kind of one of those like niche type of ones that, so I think some snacks still can do well, but it will be more niche than others.
if I can say anything that like talking about snacks and just kind of getting into like legacy brands, it'd be amazing if we can get Ghost back. And literally, like Ghost would be insane. Like if we can get that brand, just the drinks alone, God, the amount of volume we would do with these guys would be insane. But I don't know if they're exclusive to Muscle Foods. That's always the question. I always wonder, do you guys know that answer?
Where I with the drinks is Anheuser-Busch though. I mean, that's
Oh, it's Anheuser-Busch is the exclusive.
I'm not sure if it's exclusive. I don't know any contracts. I just know that AB does a lot of distribution for the drinks. So that's like
Yeah, they picked up like so that's
levels.
like C4. They picked up C4 at 1.2, but we can still distribute it. So like anytime Anheuser gets something, it's normally that they don't get the exclusive. We can still have it. It's only when like the Pepsi type deals happen or Coke type deals happen. That's when normally, a distributor like us will lose it. But yeah,
No, don't.
I'd
Yeah, don't.
be a good brand.
I don't know fully know the ins and outs and everything. Obviously, there's a lot of demand, and they've been, copied and cloned and all that many times over and everything. But no, can't currently help you there.
Yeah,
believe that-
always willing to push.
I believe that, and I hate going out on limbs to say things, but I believe that the reason that Muscle Foods got the opportunity with Ghost was because of they have the military down on lock.
Military. So I knew that was
Yeah,
okay,
military is a really big mover for that. But I believe someone's going to quote me on this. I'm going to be wrong. Dan's going to call me pissed off. But I believe that it goes through ABEV. So like any distributor can pick it up. Like there's a local like liquor distributor that sells Ghost Energy near me in Jersey, but they go through ABEV. So I believe it could work for you guys. But maybe there's less margin than going direct with that distribution.
Yeah, we'd want to go direct, man.
For
Just
sure.
kind of have a direct relationship with them if that's possible. But obviously, I don't see that happening anytime soon. We're just blessed to have the brands that like letting us work with them and stuff like that. So that's like the amazing point about it.
I mean, you guys have some.
I just wanted to get back to Legendary real quick. I don't know, Ben, if you remember, we were at the Arnold one year, me and you, and we were tasting the when they're kind of like flat, like in that purple packaging. Totally different taste from what they are now.
Do you remember? God, I'm sorry. I feel like such a dick for not remembering this, guys. Dave Palumbo was big on Legendary
Yes.
back in the day, and the purple plastic things. It was not the same, but they are so good. Have you had their chips yet?
No, that's what people.
I heard they're amazing.
I
Oh, they're
ate
amazing.
an embarrassing amount of these chips at the GNC franchise show. Like if the barbecue ones, if I told you they were barbecue Lays, you'd be like, yeah, 100%. Like it is insane.
We're ready to buy them.
Wild chips.
We're ready to buy
I've
them.
seen those.
I've heard really good things about the wild chips. I know the marketing.
So
Yep.
that's that, and like the one next snack that we're looking to get in, that I'm trying to figure out how to get in contact for, is Built, the Puff Bars, the Built Bars. That's something I see in stores all the time, and I'm just like, where do we get this contact? And they said they're going through a portal, and I'm like, why don't they just use a distribution?
I mean, that's
You
a
know?
great question. I'd love to know from brands why they wouldn't consider distribution. I mean, we've outlined on the Michael podcast. We talked about all the reasons why you would use distribution. I think that working with you guys is just talking here has shown a lot of really other great reasons, just from boots on the ground side. But like, it used to be a kind of like a pride. When I was at NutriBio, we were proud of the fact that we were direct on everything because the relationship was there. But in today's day and age, it's just convenient. It's like the Amazon model almost.
Yeah, we are next day. I mean, we ship same day as long as you get it in roughly by 3 p.m. and you're getting it for the most part next day. And literally, like, yeah, you can save maybe 50 cents or $1 per unit if you went direct possibly, but you're ordering way more than the $250 minimum that we have. So yeah, it's kind of, again, it just seems like a no-brainer. We have 100+ brands at this point. So I mean, the portfolio that they can choose from is just, it's kind of endless at this point. Obviously, we pointed out a few brands we'd love to get, but yeah, it's just, I say it all the time. I mean, if I was a store, I mean, I just don't see how stores are ordering from 10, 12, 13, 20+ different places, like that's got to be tough to manage all
Like a
that.
supply chain manager for a retail store. It's
Yeah, yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, though. I mean, Mike makes this joke a lot, but 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, PricePlow wouldn't have worked the way that it does right now because there wasn't that much quality out there. And in the same way, like retail, back then you were selling Universal and Animal and Gaspari. Like today's day and age, you have so much.
I just like it that you guys have that because you guys are able to show so many brands that I've never even heard of. Like I look up, I see you posting for a new product on that you're trying out. I'm like, what's that? And I go looking on Google and searching for it. I'm like, damn, because I'm a product fiend, man. I'll buy it. I don't even care. Like, I know I can get wholesale pricing or like wait for it. I'm not cheap when it comes to that. I buy full price. Like, I don't even use a discount code. Like, I'm ready to go whenever.
Well, the key is too. It's giving. You're gonna have to. The unfortunate thing is nobody wants to get their feelings hurt anymore. I'm not going to get down a rabbit hole with this, but the thing is this, you have to be willing to hurt some people's hearts sometimes. You have to be willing to say, dude, this is not doing it. This is not going to work. There are 15 others like this. How are you differentiating yourself? You know what I mean? If Mike and Ben taste something, you have to say, Ben might be like, no, it's okay. And Mike's like, no, this sucks. And you have to be open. And you could obviously say it with Koof, but to be honest, to be like, this isn't cutting it, right? You go to a restaurant and the food sucks. You're going to say it's great? No, you spend $60 on a meal for two people or whatever. Well, now it's one person, right? But I mean, everything's so daggone expensive. But I just think in this industry too, you have to be willing to be honest with people and just let them know truly how you feel about the product, because then it can pivot and become better and make it better. And then when you review it again, you say, this is where it's at, right? I just thought I needed to say that.
You can see that in the brands that do come to us or go to, PricePlow or go to these different guys for that advice. I mean, you see the difference in the product. I mean, it is a clear difference in people who leverage that and people who are kind of shy away from that, or like you said, are maybe afraid of the criticism or think they have it all figured out. And it's just too much competition out there to not be open-minded and take advice from others.
100%.
You have to, if you're going to have something that doesn't taste, it has to taste great nowadays. And if it doesn't, you need a really good reason. Like we talked about Cognigen.
It better kick or it better fucking feel good.
Yeah, it better. Yeah, exactly. It's going to have to do something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what, like, bringing it back to that Morphogen. I think it's worth, like, the high dose teacrine just made that thing just last for me. So it was really.
Dude, it lasted. Like, I took a dry scoop yesterday.
You dry scooped it?
I know it's not good for you to dry scoop. I get it, guys. 100%. I'm just used to it. I literally swig water and I dry scoop. I don't really drink pre-workouts as much as I should. You know what I mean? Being a big advocate, being in the health industry and stuff like that. But, dude, it kicked. And, like, I love it. In the morning, you just need to be – because you need to be in a good mood, bro. You're strapped to the seat for fucking 8 hours. You're calling 50, 60 accounts. Because at SportLife, we can't fucking just, order collect. They're tracking our calls, man. They're tracking everything, So it's like we have to call. You have to be in a good mood. You have to be willing to talk.
Your job is not for introverts, is it?
No,
absolutely not.
Not at all. Not at all.
My wife always says, Jordan, God gave you a big mouth. Yeah, so that is true. She gave me the gift of gab, and I always make a joke. So one thing I can do is I can freaking talk. I could talk to a corpse in a morgue. So that's where I specialize at. No, you have to enjoy talking to people, man. This is not a job for an introvert.
So, like, I'll just keep going and going and going.
Well, like, look at, like, Dylan. Dylan's a great example, right? Dylan and I are totally opposite people, but Dylan can talk. Like, if I talk to Dylan, we can talk for an hour straight. Mm-hmm. He's a much more humble, quiet guy. I'm very in-your-face aggressive. Sammy's very in-your-face aggressive. But you can still be more introverted as a personality, but still be able to talk to people and not be able to miss a beat. That's important, right? And that's good for certain, like, Dylan does a lot of West Coast stuff now. That's what those people can gravitate more towards too. Up north, they don't want somebody there. No, they want my big mouth. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it plays a role in a certain territory you're at.
Is your West Coast guy? You have people on the West, right? Are they going to have a different personality?
Yeah, I mean, I think demographically, yeah, the personalities you do, like, you're calling accounts in Alabama, Florida, California, like he said, Jersey. You're talking into a store in Jersey and New York. I mean, Jordan all day. I don't maybe mesh as well with guys up there, but so yeah, it's definitely demographically and all that stuff. It does make it different, and it's huge. I mean, it can be, like I said, you could be selling two totally different things. The hot pre-workout in Florida can be a totally different hot pre-workout in California at that time, just based on demographics.
100%.
Something that Sammy brought up earlier was like finding pre-workouts or companies on PricePlow, a little shameless plug there, but that are like from smaller companies that he didn't know about. It'd be really cool to see you guys almost have like an incubator program, like bringing in smaller brands that are not already have tons of demand, but you find something interesting there and only SportLife is distributing it.
See, we would do that, but then what happens is our competitions like to get it too. It's just like, man, why can't we just keep it? And we're not trying to hold a brand to their wheelhouse, but just give us a chance. You know what I mean? There's some
Well,
companies we do it with.
Well, I think we're getting to that point. You got to think SportLife has really taken off in the last 2 years. So, I mean, when it comes to like other distributors that have been in the game, I mean, it's been SportLife has been a long, around longer than 2 years. But what I'm saying is like becoming a full national distributor. Like it's been within the last few years, and we are starting to dominate at this point. So, I think that is when you're talking about exclusive flavors and stuff. We've been, me and Jordan used to work together at another distributor, and like we were getting exclusive flavors of different products. So, I think. SportLife will. I mean, we had the CBUM exclusive on the Citrus Burst, energy for what, 45 days or something, or almost a month.
Yeah,
So,
I think
you
we're
know,
talking about brands, brother. Like,
yeah, but no, but my point is, I think that leads into the brands also, is what I'm saying is like getting exclusive. We'll eventually get to the point where we will be able to have that dominance to be able to have an exclusive brand, or something like that, or incubate, like you said, and give these people an opportunity to do that. I just think like you said, how we talked about like brands mastering one thing at a time, like same with us right now. We're to that point of such a massive growth where we're just trying to make sure that we don't overstep us, too quick and lose out on an opportunity, or do anything that we're not capable of right now.
Well, like Sammy bringing up Hostile and how they stick to single stores and working directly with them. I think that a brand could work directly with SportLife very, very synergistically if they didn't use other distributors, or they didn't look to go Vitamin Shop, GNC, of course, like the typical path that everyone wants to take. If they stuck with SportLife and really invested there, gave the promotions, gave the exclusive there, could be powerful. I mean, you guys have a great network of stores. I mean, before we partnered with SportLife, I did my homework just to make sure we were doing the right thing, and I didn't hear one bad thing from any brand or store. And you guys have a strong name, so I think that seems like a cool possibility for you guys going forward, because I see growth for you guys. I see really coming out of the woodwork and becoming a big name.
Yeah, once you're national, and if you have a full coverage and everything, I don't know, I think enough companies will want to not be lazy, but like there's certain things you just don't need or want to excel at, and if SportLife can be that piece of the puzzle, then just let it be and don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
I think there would be opportunity there for sure. I would be like that.
Yeah, and I think we're getting to that point now because, I mean, one thing distributors have is data, like, again, we have data for the retailer. So retailers asking, hey, what's hot right now? Like, I literally have the data to be, like, I'm not just coming up with false stuff or what I think is hot. I have data to tell these retailers, hey, this is what's selling right now in your region. This is what's selling right now here. Here's a new brand we just brought on. Like, we have data also that helps the retailer, but that helps the brands as well because we have data on retailers also. So it's like that data kind of is key also. And as long as we keep building more and more data, it's only going to help the retailers and it's only going to help the brands,
Yeah, that's one thing we originally talked with your leadership team and didn't really execute on yet, is that we can notify you guys as the salespeople when things go out of stock at retailers, at least online. Like, I don't know what they have on the shelves and for real in inventory, but if it's like, if chocolate flavor was available yesterday on their website and is not available today, then that's a potential lead for you, So like we I don't know if that data would be useful for you, but we could definitely send you that kind of information.
Yeah, I mean, it helps. Everything helps. I mean, data in general just helps because it's what's really happening. It's not kind of opinion based. Again, it's the raw data. It's what's actually happening.
Yeah. So if there's one thing I learned here, we're talking about a lot of snacks and functional foods. We basically on our channel have not covered or reviewed a single thing that we've talked about on this channel. And so I realize that we are way behind on a lot of that. So I almost feel like I need to just like order Ben a ton of like protein bars, snacks, everything that's hot, and just like get that going. Now, okay, I know you guys aren't social media experts. Ben and I may disagree. Should we just dump it all on the PricePlow channel or make a whole separate functional food segment? Because we could like
all the PricePlow channel.
Was that?
My
All right.
things should be integrated.
Yeah, because I mean, we could like overload.
He has I think Ben is very open-minded and has a very opinionated base, so he's going to give his honest opinion if it tastes like shit.
I should be honest. I think Mike doesn't follow all of our social. We have hit a couple of these things, but
I know that. You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about a lot of stuff that's not been our channel, though.
Yeah, seriously. Vaughn's we've done, Bear Bells we've done, but Anabar, I've had a lot. I just never post it. I know you guys probably appreciate this. As healthy people, like when it becomes your job, sometimes you want to like just enjoy it for yourself. It's also your hobby. And sometimes like it becoming your business like takes the fun out of it. So like,
100%.
dude, I go to Wegmans and I walk through the healthy line and I want to look through all this stuff in the aisle. I'm like, oh, I should post this all to social media. I'm like, no, let's just enjoy this for a second. Like enjoy fitness for myself for a second. But yeah, there's so much functional food wise that we definitely have left some on the table we got to get into.
Well, the grab and go segment, as you have seen the trends, I mean, like you said, we're talking about data, and you look at a good barometer for this is all the big players, right? So the Targets, the Walmarts, you got the Dicks, you got the Sports Authorities, whatever have you with these guys, they give you some sick velocity reports. I mean, they move a lot of widgets, right? So with that being said, that's going to give you a lot of data on what's moving out there. And you're seeing now that the biggest trend is grab and go. I mean, grab and go is surpassing just about everything, right? Everybody's snacking, whether it's bad or good. All six of us here, we eat every single day. We snack on something, whether it's an ostrom or a bar or a piece of steak, whatever it may be. We're snacking on something. Yeah, you're drinking shakes, whatever it may be. But the grab and go segment right now, I believe, I think it's in the billions. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? It's surpassing just about everything. Exactly. It's just surpassing everything out there right now. So that's a big piece that you have for you guys to cover 100%.
Yeah, I think I need to call your team and ask for some foods.
Let us know.
Seriously, yeah.
We can do it, but yeah, I'm cool paying for it and everything. It's just gotta make the effort.
Tell Wild Shits to hit us up. We need to get them in stock.
I'll call Wild for
I
you
want
guys,
to try
don't worry.
Awesome. Hey, my hat. I'm wearing Abe. I'll like everything. Yeah. So have you any word
that
on
brand's
them?
doing great, dude. Honestly,
Love them.
I like to call them an upgraded version of C4. Not to jock C4 or anything like that. C4 is obviously an amazing seller, but ABE Ultimate Pre-Workout, dude, we sell it like crazy. They have the taste profile on point. People like it as an everyday pre, and their drink is doing very well for us as well.
Their drink in the Blue Lagoon is like ridiculous.
So Ben, that's the one drink out of all. Like, I mean, yeah, once in a while I'll have a bang, but honestly, that's the only drink I've ever drank where it wasn't crashing on me. The nootropic in there, the nootropic effect I got from that was the best I've had out of any drink, period. And that's bold because my adrenals are shot. Okay?
I've seen it. Like this man.
Yeah, Sammy's like, how much have you drank already?
Dude, he had a Celsius. Then he had a Just Work. And then we're at the conference. This is like, mind you, like 1:00. He opens up another Just Work. And then he's like, I'll try the new this new flavor, ABE. And he's popping an ABE. I'm like, oh, I had pre-workout at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, dude, you're 1,000 milligrams in, dog.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things, man. But I will say that Abe, that's the one drink, man, that actually had 200 megs of caffeine, and it had nootropic in there. And I was like, man, what a good balance. It was smooth, and I got to say, like, that was the first time I actually recognized what a nootropic does. Like, my brain felt like, I just felt good. Like, I felt like I was functioning. I remember calling Samuel. I'm like, dude, I was like, what does this stuff do? And he was explaining it to me. It was like way over my head. But I'm like, there's definitely a reason nootropics freaking work if they're done right.
I love that. I mean, it makes sense. Their can is one of the few cans that, like, there's a lot extra in there, you know. But at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, they taste amazing. And that's what most people are going to care about with cans in the first place. Anyway.
That's all they're going to care about. Because the Ghost tastes amazing. Alani's taste amazing. That's all interesting. So
I had some contractors working in the backyard. I always give them a few energy drinks out of the, if I have people doing landscaping or like heavy stuff that I can't do, concrete. And I gave these guys an Abe energy drink, and they were so excited because he's like, dude, I've tried every energy drink at Quick Trip down the street. They don't have this. I'm like, yeah, this is new to America, and they loved it. So it's like a lot of people are just looking for like the new next exciting thing, and I think TJ's got a good thing coming in over here. We're gonna have another podcast pretty soon, so I'm excited about it.
They're also coming in line. I think with their releasing their proteins, I think they did really good on those, and then I believe they're doing a non-stim pump formula, which that's another big thing that we didn't cover. Those RTD pump formulas, fucking amazing. The Bum one, Big Noise has one from Total War. From Recon 1. And dude, honestly, I love the bum pumps. Sometimes I just take that. it's freaking. I've seen those starting to come alive again. So it's gonna be interesting to see what ABE comes out with.
Yeah, so sure. We'll be working on their pump product and everything. So that it seems pretty exciting from what I've seen, but no leaks, of course. Here, I was going to ask though. So we had mentioned Bum Energy. This is a lower caffeine energy drink. I don't know if you carry Lost and Found, but that's like 150 milligrams of caffeine. So that's lower caffeine. Have you seen this trend back to lower caffeine, or is like it seems like people are still like
200? The game point, bro. At the end of the day, I see 200 being
200. Yeah.
Gotcha.
200 is great. I mean, like the Celsius, the ABE, the Alani Nu, like that's what I see like cranking. The 112 milligrams of caffeine. I mean, Bum is holding strong. I like Bum Energy, man.
Well, I think it's the can. I think they just the way they designed the can. I mean, coming out with that squatty can. I think that's really that combined with the caffeine. I think that's really what did it for them.
Yeah, it's a 12-ounce beer can. It's not as like
I've knocked 4
think.
in those in one day. Like it just purely said why that.
Well, guys, let's be politically correct. We're talking two different animals here too, right? So your people like, if we revert back to pre's and these powders and other things that have lots of different substrates, people are going to try to get educated and understand what's in them. Drinks, nobody's paying attention to that. They just want to get something that they heard tastes good, looks sexy. And if it's got some caffeine in there, it could be 100 megs, it could be 200 megs. Some people are like, oh, I didn't realize it had 300 megs. But if you start getting too sciencey with it, people aren't going to pay attention to that. I truly believe that. Majority of people that are buying those kinds of things, they're not paying attention to the science behind it.
Yeah, they also probably don't recognize that Bum was really made low caffeine, not just for Chris, but also because it can go into Canada. Not a lot of people know that in Canada you have to be below a certain threshold for caffeine. So that was a big thing for them.
It's a good move.
Yeah, something I wanted to bring up, though, on the topic of caffeine is you guys also distribute Muscle Tech. You have Burn IQ and you have Euphoric, which are Paraxanthine Infinity products. They're the only companies that have them right now, at least in powders. So I wanted to ask you guys, have you seen a difference in distributing the Paraxanthine versus caffeine? Have you gotten call-outs for that? Is that something that's interesting?
Sammy, have you moved a lot of that?
Yeah, Euphoric, I moved it because one of my good friends, dude, amazing dude, Blessings, Awudabu. I love Blessings. Like I see him every day, every morning we post together. And when I knew he was coming to the brand, it just gives me the more initiative to push the brand too. So I mention it every time. Paraxanthine, I talk about it. I say I like it too. Sometimes I do take Euphoric. I like it. I like that feeling. It's a good feeling. It's also, you don't get crashy feeling from it. Do I see that being like the next end all be all? I don't think so.
No.
I just think it's going to have a nice sub area for it for consumers and stuff like that, but not going to be like the end all be all for sure.
So Ben, on that question, that's a good one because with Muscle Tech, them being 25 years old, more, right? 25, I mean, probably more, close to 30, I'd imagine, give or take. How hot that brand was for years, and as obviously all these new awesome latest and greatest brands are coming in, and people are pushing certain things out. Now Muscle Tech's actually trying to make a resurgence with more of these products. Products are never terrible. Products are always good. They're just a legend brand, and a lot of people are like, I just want to pull in more fresh things and new fresh ingredients. Now they got the rights to this. Now you're cutting out the middleman, which is caffeine, now it's Paraxanthine. That's really cool to be able to educate the consumer about that. It is an education process, letting them know what it's about, and then they have to take a leap of faith saying, hey, is Muscle Tech going to move in the store? Because I wasn't pushing a lot of it before.
So let me ask you this, Ben and Mike. With that Paraxanthine, so I'm always like, I had my 400 milligrams of caffeine limit for the day. But then I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. And I'm like, it's still not that late. What is that? The question is, I always have in my head, and I can't think of 300 milligrams of Paraxanthine. What is that? Is that considered I'm not taking any stimulants, or is that still considered me taking stimulants?
No, it's definitely a stimulant. It's got a shorter half-life. You're not getting the longer lasting metabolites. There's no theophylline or theobromine. So, and those are the long half-lives. So in general, caffeine on average, and there's different types of metabolizers. You're probably fast. Most of us are usually fast metabolizers or regular. If you're a slow metabolizer, you get wrecked by caffeine so badly that you probably wouldn't be a big fan of it. So with that said, most of us, caffeine's about a 4-hour half-life. For me, my caffeine cutoff is 4 p.m. And I notice worse sleep if I push it too close to that. 100%. With Paraxanthine, it seems to be about a 3-hour half-life, which might not be good for the people who want to get whacked. But at the same time, I use it to, in those circumstances, I could use it a touch later, and it's not as strong, and so it's good for when you want to have, like, the word is right, euphoric. If you want to not have the downsides of the caffeine, sometimes you want the harebrained feeling from caffeine. Sometimes you just want a little bit of energy. So
I just want a little kick.
Yeah. So in the evening, some base cases for using a paraxanthine, or if you're trying to lower off of caffeine or get away from caffeine, it's a good middleman to like phase down, temper down. You can kind of like use it as part of your cycling off if you're like really addicted. But also, a little bit later in the evening without as much residual staying awake, for sure. Like if you were going to say, Mike, I need some energy, I know caffeine's going to keep me up all night, I would say go get euphoric right away. So, but yeah, so it does, but this requires the education, because a lot of the customers want 400 milligrams caffeine anhydrous, a little bit extra caffeine citrate, like smack them really fast. This is a little bit different. It's not gonna crush like that, but it definitely has its place. So people need to kind of like learn that, and we try to help educate, like, so that the store owners can watch and then learn, okay, there's a certain person who definitely does want euphoric, and and it's feel good, and you're not going to have as many complaints in general. Some people just might need to go a bit bigger of a scoop.
What I think about...
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I answered my question, actually.
Maybe the way that I look at it, and I try to explain if anyone who's watching this too, is if you take 300 milligrams of caffeine, you're then getting 3 metabolites from that: the theophylline, the theobromine, and the paraxanthine. So you're never going to get like a higher dosage of those metabolites than the original like thing that you're giving yourself. So it's, I don't know what the conversion is. You actually asked about the conversion. Mike, do you remember how much caffeine leads to how much paraxanthine?
It was like 90%. Ooh, I could look
it's
it
a
up
large
already.
amount, but you're never going to get as much. So 300 milligrams of paraxanthine is, roughly, whatever, 350 caffeine or something slightly more. But the nice thing is that paraxanthine is where all the positive benefits come from with caffeine. I would argue that theobromine has some good benefits, but theophylline definitely is like where the heart rate and the blood pressure all come from. So when you remove those others, you're getting like a more pure part of caffeine. You're just getting the good parts of the caffeine without the quote unquote bad
Makes
parts.
sense.
So, you're going to get less of that overall robust effect from caffeine. Some people consider that to be a little bit dirtier. Clearly, I have about 3 energy drinks on my table right now. I don't find it to be all that dirty. Some people really like that kind of more robust effect, but I think that paraxanthine feels very clean. If I'm looking for like a light kick, it's definitely a good pick for me.
I just like it once in a blue moon. Like, even like if it's a late day, bro, and I'm having POs out the ass, I'm talking it's a 50-gram PO day. I'm going to be honest. I'm already 375 in. I'm going to have a scoop of euphoric. I'm going to make it in a water bottle. I'm going to sip it. I might not drink the whole thing, but I need a little bit of like a thing to go in it. But I feel guilty because I'm like, damn. But I sleep still. But at the same time, like, ooh,
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I would do. I think you've kind of figured it out just with your use. There's certain times you're like, dude, I just don't want caffeine, but I need something. That's euphoric time. The percentage caffeine, 84% paraxanthine, 12% theobromine, 4% theophylline. So it is mostly paraxanthine in the first place. Paraxanthine does the heavy lifting. But yeah, 84%. But in generally, I agree with Ben. 300 milligrams of caffeine, to make the equivalent, you're going to have to go to 350 or so of paraxanthine or 300 milligrams of paraxanthine will feel kind of like 230 to 250 milligrams of caffeine, which for a lot of people won't be enough. For a lot of people, it's perfect.
Cool.
Kind of cool to talk about that. Wow, I think we got a lot of stuff. We're at 4 o'clock Central Time right now.
I was actually surprised we lasted this long.
This is fun. I said Ben a message. We're chatting on Signal on the side. I'm like, dude, this is fun. So
I think
I said that earlier.
Like I said to Mike, like you guys, I mean, not to like pump us up, but I know that like a lot of the sales reps watch the content. Like I know they watch the podcast, I know they watch the videos, and it's got to be frustrating to like see the stuff, hear the stuff, but not be able to like have an open communication about like.
I wanted to fucking say something so bad. No, fuck. Like, I love my boss. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, why? And then you guys and then it came. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want on. What's the time?
Yeah.
I want to speak. I want to talk.
Yeah. I mean, I heard from other distributors after that podcast too. I mean, everyone wants to communicate. That's what's cool about the platform, is that we can do this. So I was like, we got to get like the sales reps on.
And by all means, get all their distributors on there. I want to hear what they got going on there. Let them open
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
No?
I know some brands and some, obviously HR doesn't always want their employees going on podcasts and talking about stuff publicly, but like, it's such a fun community. It's something that we all enjoy fitness and health and training and supplementation and nutrition. Like, it's a fun time to talk about this stuff. And you guys obviously see all of it from your lens. So this has been really fun.
Well, yeah, and like you said, I mean, Jordan's been doing it. You said what, 25 years? I've been doing distribution for 10 years. Sammy's been doing it for 5 years or so. Like, yeah, man, like or longer. So it's like, yeah, it's just all having kind of been in it. We've seen kind of like the transitions of all this different stuff. So it's fun to talk about. I mean, we've been in it, and it's just we're kind of in it for the long haul.
I started doing this when I was using an abacus to count, to do my math for my customers. Now I could use a calculator. See, we're moving up in the world.
We're progressing.
Hey, Jordan's still old school where he writes all his numbers on.
I write all my orders down, man. I wrote all my stuff down.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I love to keep tabs. I've been a creature of habit. I got trained by some really good guys back in the day at the other distributorship, and something that works for me. But
Like, Sammy, is there an easier way to look up these orders? Like, I can't look them up
one by one.
How do you single out a day? I had to show them.
Yeah. Now I'm flying. I mean, technology is a beautiful thing. Sometimes it's terrible, but sometimes it's great. So
it's amazing, man. And honestly, like, the guys we work with at SportLife, man, I gotta thank you guys. Like, it's amazing. Like, we have good guys we work with, man. They're just a cool crew. It's an age gap. We got Jeff and me at 29. Dylan, how old are you? You're not too young. You're not too
30.
old.
I'm 30.
He's 30. You're still young, and then that age gap jumps 12 years.
yeah,
Got Chad Chad is 45. Jordan,
Chad's 45, 46, and 44. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, it jumps, and then it goes even to Garrett at 50.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, and they give us, we pick and choose, like, wanting advice and stuff like that, because, like, it's cool to see what goes on in the old industry, like back in the heydays of Europa, Lone Star, stuff like that, to hear what happened and to understand how much the industry is evolving,
Yeah.
Some of my favorite conversations are at the bar at the Arnold, talking to guys about stuff that used to happen, so.
Yes.
Yeah, that bar is not as packed as it used to be, which makes me sad.
No.
I joked that I wanted to do this kind of podcast with people like yourself at that bar. I think you'd be way too loud, but I think this conversation, to me, I wanted it to be like that conversation at the Arnold, like those things that go unrecorded, but those conversations and story sharing and just discussion that I know you guys have had in the industry, where you just sit back and talk about what you see. Like, we have these conversations all the time, and I'm like, man, like, I know consumers that would want to listen to this. I know retailers that would want to listen to this. I know contract manufacturers that want to listen to this. It's so valuable just to kind of sit and talk about the current state. So thank you guys for joining us.
Next time there's a new batch of trends and stuff, we'll have to do this again. This is too much fun. So
100%.
thanks again.